questionnaires distributed by the top management, so it becomes an obligation. So usually, you see, the funny thing about humans is that if it comes from the top, they feel it's part of the job, it doesn't become a burden. You know, because there's motivation to actually do it. So another one would be the results that this gentleman mentioned. In fact, when we talk about our participants being professionals, people who actually are in the area, they will want the results. So the best thing is to actually promise the result and send it over the email so that it's not too costly. So the third one is it's safe to respond. Have you ever felt that some questionnaires you don't really want to fill in? Yeah? You don't feel safe, so you actually fill it in, but not truthfully. Yeah. So this is where, how do you make your respondents feel safe to fill it in? You see, because all these things is that, you know, the worst thing that can happen to questionnaires is the low rate of return. So you have to think about how to make sure that you get back your questionnaires. So how do you actually make them feel safe? How would you feel safe? I mean, as a respondent, what kind of questionnaires will make you feel safe to respond?
Maybe something that doesn't ask my name.
Okay, that's good. Something that I've not included. Sometimes most of the time we don't ask the name. Okay, but sometimes they do ask you other questions. How do you feel about that? Your age, your sorry? Salary, yeah. yes. So they ask you salary and all that. So, but actually, if your questionnaire needs those information, you have to put it in. But because you don't have the name there, it's okay. Okay. Then what else? Yes. The beginning, you already say that it is going to be confidential. And they don't believe you. You know why? Because some people make the mistake of, when they say total confidentiality, in the research report, I've read actually, you know, reports about schools. So they, in the paper, they already say what schools. And then you get all the problems in the schools all printed out. That one I've seen also. But that's ethically, people all know, oh, we cannot do that. But some people put in the report nice, but in the acknowledgement, thank you to the head of this school. Same thing also. You see, this is the worst thing, is that we don't see this. Sometimes we forget. Okay? In the report, school name changed. But in the acknowledgement, name not changed. Because we thank the head teacher and we thank the school. Don't forget this, you see. So that's why in the acknowledgement, sometimes we say, we thank the participants. We don't actually say who. And the participants will know, but because the results may be controversial, they prefer it to be that way. Because they don't want to put in the CV anyway, having participated in your research. You see, so this is where acknowledgement, you may do it verbally rather than having it printed out. And sometimes people actually do all that right, and then when it comes to interviews or when they give talks elsewhere, they mention schools. They mention the institutions or organizations. Then everything becomes open again. So no point in doing that. So don't, when you talk about confidentiality, you're talking about total confidentiality. Not just on the paper, but report, also acknowledgement, and whenever you talk about things, don't mention where you actually did it. So you use the state, or you use the, what do you call it, the country. But when you talk about the organization, people will know when it was done and so on. So then it no longer becomes confidential. Now, we get to the research point of view, the researcher's point of view. We talk about good questionnaires from the researcher's point of view. First, we only have two concerns. Good questionnaires will actually be good if they produce the correct data and the data is easy to analyze. So only these 2 points. but it's quite complicated points, huh? So, all right, it's first you churn out correct data. So first of all, you have to be objective. Remember, we talked about the definition of questionnaires. What was it? Research instrument or research tool that will gather the data needed to do what? To answer the research questions. So therefore, you have to be very, very sure that it fulfills objectives in question, or research questions. Now, how do you do that? How do you do that? Sorry? Yes, okay. But usually, we look at each question, research question, having a cluster of questions. Right. So, the easiest way is actually to divide, to divide the questionnaire into parts. We will see that soon. So, this is why questionnaires are always divided into parts. One, earlier we said it's easier for the respondents to actually approach the questionnaire. The other one is that it keeps us objective, okay? It keeps us focused. So, the other one is that we sometimes include unnecessary questions. You know, this sometimes we night shop. We make questions and then, oh, this one was nice also. We might want to ask this, we might want to ask that. Even for example, the background, people always ask the same questions. If you skip the name, background, you always ask age, race, what else? Marital status also sometimes. Gender, you know. Sorry? Yeah. So sometimes we are fixated with certain types of questions that we always put them in without any particular reason. Right? So at the end of the day, we ask that question and we waste the people's time by asking them to answer, and at the end of the day, it's not going to be used for anything. So don't include anything unnecessary, and sometimes they don't fulfill the objectives. So when you actually create a questionnaire that's divided into parts, you know, for example, participants' background, students, what students read. Okay, this is an example of reading, okay, reading habits. So, let's say we just have these research questions. Okay, what the students read, what are the students' reading habits? Is there a difference between male and female? Is there a difference between reading habits between year groups? Now, when we have this, we already refer to the research questions. We know that the background we need will be year group and gender. That's it. Don't be asking them how many siblings you have. Right. So these kind of things. And if you're doing students, for example, don't ask them marital status, because it doesn't matter whether they're married or not. If they are students of Utah, they're going to be participants. So don't ask. So this is where very important that when you section or divide your questionnaires, then you actually see